That dude is just
freaky guy.
He's like an alien.
Here comes Garrett. Football's loose.
Myles Garrett is a tank that cuts like a fighter jet, and Micah Parsons is a heat-seeking missile with hands like Ali in his prime. They break pockets, hijack game plans, and turn Sundays into nightmares. But only one wears the crown as the NFL's ultimate defensive freak. Today we're breaking down the numbers, the tape, and the terror to answer one question. Who's the most unstoppable defender in the NFL right now?
Myles Garrett just keeps on coming.
Hit and sacked by Micah Parsons.
Before we get to Garrett versus Parsons, we need to define what kind of monster we're actually talking about here, because the term defensive freak is more than a nickname. It's a formula. You've got edge rushers with power, hybrids with speed, and game wreckers who show up every single down. So what makes someone a freak? Well, we're looking at four things: explosiveness, efficiency, disruption, and versatility. We're talking about guys like TJ Watt, Trey Hendrickson, and Nick Bosa. Guys who bring it on every down, snap after snap, game after game. But what if you took Bosa's strength, Watt's burst, and Hendrickson's relentless motor, and you put it in a 6'4", 272-pound frame with a 41-inch vertical? Well, you'd get Myles Garrett. Or what if you built a defender with track speed, linebacker range, edge rusher bend, and coverage skills? Well, then you get Micah Parsons. They're both athletic freaks, but which is the most nightmarish defender in the NFL right now? If the NFL had a create a player setting, it would probably spit out Myles Garrett. 6'4", 272 pounds, a 41-inch vertical, and apparently just bored with physics. Because Garrett does more than just beat blocks. He annihilates leverage. If your feet are a half-second slow, you're a traffic cone to him, and if your anchor's off balance, well, your teammates are digging you out of the turf. In 2024, Garrett finally got what many thought he should have had sooner: NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
Myles Garrett.
He did it with 21.5 sacks and a 27% pass rush win rate, which was top of the league again. And that's after being double teamed more than any edge rusher not named Micah Parsons. But here's the freak part. Garrett didn't just feast on bad tackles. He put up career highs against playoff teams, mobile quarterbacks, and protections built entirely to stop him. That's not just strength. That's knowing your opponent's playbook better than their own left guard. Next Gen Stats had him leading the NFL in pressure rate for the second straight year. His PFF grade, an impressive 94.1, the highest among all edge defenders. And this isn't just pass rush artistry. Garrett was also top 10 in run stop win rate, so even if you try to run away from him, he'll just chase you down and take your lunch on the way back to the huddle. He plays like a man trying to meet a sack quota before halftime.
I'm trying to be the greatest.
And the insane part is that he's getting more efficient with age. There's fewer missed tackles, better angles, and cleaner hands, more strip sacks that actually swing games, and he's no longer just a wow athlete, he's a refined game planning technician with elite traits baked in. When the game's on the line, Garrett doesn't disappear. He levels up.
Here comes Garrett. Myles takes him down again.
And if you're an offensive tackle trying to survive 4 quarters, your Sunday matchup is likely to turn into a slow motion beating. Now, if Myles Garrett is a tank with bend, Micah Parsons is a cruise missile with a grudge and bad intentions. You can't block him like an edge, and you can't ID him like a linebacker, and you most certainly can't predict where he's coming from. Because Micah Parsons doesn't line up, he shows up.
Such a force.
In 2024, he racked up 16 sacks, 90-plus pressures, and a PFF grade of 91.7. Oh, and he did all that while splitting time between linebacker and edge rusher like it was a side hustle. Try this on for freak math. Parsons played about 1/3 of his snaps off ball and still out-pressured most full-time pass rushers. How, you might be asking? Well, because he's the NFL's version of Where's Waldo, if Waldo had a 40-inch vertical and 4.3 speed. Parsons does more than just blow up plays. He replaces the need for half of your defensive playbook. Next Gen clocked him with the fastest get-off time in the entire league last season with 0.61 seconds. That's not reaction, that's a detonation.
Pass rush is really all about the get-off.
He's just so dang good, and just how fast he moves to the quarterback.
Can't hand the ball comes out incomplete.
And it's not just pass rush. You can blitz him off the edge or loop him inside like a twist-happy bowling ball. You can even drop him into coverage and make your tight end cry on the ride home. In 2024, Parsons ranked in the top 5 in pass rush productivity and coverage grade. Let that sink in. He's pressuring the quarterback and tracking receivers, sometimes in the same quarter or even on the same drive. Teams have started changing their entire protection mid-snap just based on where Parsons might go, and he still finds a way to get through. He's the most double-teamed pass rusher in the NFL, and he still gets there like your offensive line is made out of cardboard. Garrett is technical violence, while Parsons is strategic chaos. He's Von Miller if you let him blitz, and Brian Urlacher if you make him cover. And he's your worst nightmare if you're a play caller trying to sleep on Saturday night. While Garrett and Parsons might be the titans at the top, don't get it twisted. This league is stacked with freaks, so before we attempt to crown the biggest one, let's see how our 3 honorable mentions stack up. TJ Watt is as cerebral a pass rusher as he is brutal, waiting for you to make a mistake before detonating. He's not the flashiest off the snap, but he's a timing assassin. He diagnoses play action like a safety, reads screens like a linebacker, and jumps passing lanes like he's baiting throws. In 2024, he had 18 sacks and 5 forced fumbles, but the number that matters most for our debate is that he led all defenders in what we call splash plays.
Splash plays, the block punt. I can't say enough about TJ. It is special.
Laube loses the football and the Steelers have it.
That means sacks, tackles for loss, pass deflections, and turnovers all stacked. He's not the most efficient per rep, but when the play breaks down, Watt cashes in. Nick Bosa doesn't celebrate like a maniac, but he does beat you repeatedly. 2024 wasn't his loudest year, with 11 sacks, some splash plays, and some dry stretches, but his tape was still must-see TV. Even in an off year with a top 5 in win rate, he was still one of the best at resetting the edge against the run. And when it's 3rd and long, he's a coach's dream. Low penalties, no wasted steps, and 0 freelancing. He doesn't need chaos to win, he wins with a plan. Now, every year the league forgets Trey Hendrickson, and every year he reminds them in no uncertain terms. He's not built like Garrett or hyped like Parsons, but when the snap hits, you hear his name way more than you'd expect.
Ritter, pressure comes and down he goes. It's Hendrickson again.
In 2024, Hendrickson lit up offenses with 17.5 sacks, 54 pressures, and a staggering 36 QB hits with a top 5 in win rate despite fewer reps.
Come on!
This guy is a sack machine who hits quarterbacks from anywhere and everywhere. Loop him inside, send him wide, it doesn't really matter. The man has violent hands, a top-tier motor, and plays like he's offended by clean pockets. You don't scheme around Hendrickson, you remember him after he ruins your 3rd quarter. Watt is the splash artist, Bosa is the sculptor, and Hendrickson is the ghost with the bull rush. They're all freaks, and they're all game wreckers, but even with these monsters roaming the field, 2 names still stand above the rest. Alright, now we've seen the tape and we've watched the chaos, but now it's time to line these 2 freaks up side by side. Let's talk numbers. In 2024, Garrett had more sacks, more game-ending pressures, and the highest pass rush win rate in the NFL at 27%. That's not just elite, that's historic. He also logged top 10 run stop efficiency on the edge, so if you thought he was just teeing off on 3rd down, think again. Now, flip it. Parsons had slightly fewer sacks with 16, but more total pressures, and he created those while spending 30% of his snaps off the ball. That's versatility you can't measure with one stat line. It's not just pressure, it's disruption from any position. And his 23% win rate is still higher than Watt's, higher than Bosa's, and higher than most full-time rushers. Then there's Pro Football Focus. Garrett, his grade is 94.1, and Parsons is 91.7. Both elite and both very consistent. Garrett slightly edges him in grade, but Parsons has more total utility. And film-wise, they're not even trying to do the same job. Garrett is built for war. Every rep is hand violence, footwork, and leverage mastery. He's a refined executioner with no wasted motion and no freelancing, just results. Parsons, however, is built for mayhem. His rushes are unpredictable. He slithers, bends, loops, and torpedoes through schemes like a ferret pounding espressos. If Garrett is a dominant edge, Parsons is a glitch in the system. One player bends the tackle. The other player breaks your protection rules. So Who's the ultimate defensive freak? Well, if you're building a pass rush around one guy, you might want Garrett. But if you want a player who can wreck your plan from every angle, you can't ignore Parsons. This isn't just a battle of stats, it's a war of styles. One is a weapon and the other is a war machine. Now, if you need one game wrecker off the edge, a player who wins with raw power, unmatched technique, and finishes quarterbacks, it's hard to argue against Myles Garrett. But if you want a defender who can blitz, drop, cover, twist, hit, spy, and still lead your team in sacks, a defender who breaks protection schemes just by showing up, well, that's Micah Parsons. Both are elite, both are terrifying, and both are redefining what it means to be a defensive superstar, so we'll ask you, who's the most unstoppable defender in football right now? Is it Garrett the weapon, Parsons the war machine, or someone else entirely? Drop your picks in the comments section below, and if you want more of the best debates in football, more freak breakdowns, stat showdowns, and highlight-fueled chaos, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, and stay locked into Snap Count, where football gets loud, smart, and just a little bit unhinged. Because here, we count every snap.